A sweatshop is modern day or postmodern day slavery.
People working in dreadful conditions, being paid, a pittance, if anything.
People are expected to work incredibly long hours.
Got people doing 18-hour days for no money.
Dangerous working conditions.
There's no human rights.
They use a lot of child labor.
Women, children, people that are easily exploitable.
Sexual violence, sexual exploitation, sexual abuse, and all of that kind of thing happens within the sweatshop industry as well.
The argument is basically that there's nothing else for people to do. They're the best jobs that people in developing countries can get, so we shouldn't regulate them. That is the basic tenet of neoclassical free market economics. Just leave private capital to do what it does and everything will be peachy. Now, I think that's clearly bollocks.
Don't be one of these people who's just like,
Yeah, but they're earning. Without the sweatshops, they'd be begging in the streets.
it doesn't matter. The fact is you're exploiting these people, so don't exploit people.
Whatever corporate fluff some of these places, some of these companies trot out there to make it seem like they're responsible corporate citizens or whatever. I think the reality on the ground is it's a climate of fear and exploitation that these people work under.
You can't judge it in degrees. It makes no difference. It's the same system destroying people's lives.
This isn't really what we want. We want to have something that's consistent with the values that we're talking about.
The only reason why working class people essentially have ever gotten a share of the pie is through fighting for it.
Places that are not only sweatshop free but are union as well, so the labor's getting treated well.
We're down for the unions, aren't we?
I think unions are a really important source of power in terms of challenging the bosses. I think strikes are a massively important way of moving forward.
A decent minimum wage, regulation of hours, and really importantly, a recognition that workers have the right to organise.
Obviously, workers' co-ops are a massive step up from sweatshops because you can ensure that people are working for a living wage.
It doesn't take a sort of brain surgeon to sort of think that we all ought to have dignity. It's simple, really.
I'm mixed race, my dad was a first-gen immigrant, and the punk scene is like one of the few places where I see people really caring about this kind of global, international solidarity.
Bands, pride themselves on being DIY, so doing everything themselves, but they've overlooked where they buy and source their t-shirts from.
You might have a punk band that's selling some t-shirt with some slogan about workers' rights, fuck the bosses, smash capitalism or something, and it's on a commercially produced t-shirt. It's a complete contradiction.
I think a key one for us is that the majority of sweatshop workers are women, so you can't really be in a feminist band and then support the exploitation of women through the use of sweatshops.
It's just hypocrisy, isn't it? If on one hand I'm saying freedom and peace for people, and there's some kid working their little fingers, little jobs, sort of to make my trainers or whatever.
Absolutely, we are all hypocrites. I don't think anyone's totally perfect, but I think there are quite simple things that we can do to avoid pretty major hypocrisies.
And we're as guilty as lots of other bands.
Let's just blame ourselves. It's not all my fault, and it's not all the band's fault, and people. We're trying the best we can.
I mean, we're all upholding capitalism anyway. The punk scene works as its own little mini capitalist system. But then further supporting exploitation within that system is pretty bleak.
I opposed putting Holiday in Cambodia in a Levi's commercial, and my main reason for opposing that so vehemently is because of the sweatshop issue. It's an ongoing struggle because it all, to me, comes back to, can I live with myself if I know somebody making stuff that I'm getting money from or has my name on it, the people who make it are being treated absolutely horribly.
I guess in the punk scene you can do your bit. Practice what you preach. You can make a difference. It ain't going to take that much just to spend a little bit more, get an ethically sound t-shirt. And be proud about it.
You can't look at everything in terms of financial expense. What's the expense in terms of sweatshop workers dying in a factory. If you've got to pay an extra £2 for a t-shirt, you pay that. I'd rather pay less than the price of a half pint in London and know that my t-shirt is actually going to help some people.
We have no alternative if we're free-thinking, good-thinking, clean-thinking people to act.
This punk ethics campaign is part of a bigger movement. In particular, punk ethics is working with No Sweat, which is an organisation that campaigns against sweatshops in general and is selling t-shirts from a cooperative owned and run by former sweatshop workers.
This project is, we love it because we want to make cool business. No one is slave in this world.
And the time has come to start to think about this and to start to try and change this. If more and more bands start to say, we're not going to put up with this, we're going to source our t-shirts ethically.
That's why it's important to get involved, not as a self-righteous thing or not as like an ethical consumer badge, but as trying to build and support a political movement.
So really the questions are all down to us, you know, they're not down to what's wrong with the world. The questions are really what's wrong with me, you know, and if you like, why aren't I doing anything about it?
This is what you're singing about. This is what all these bands are singing about. All the people that come to the gigs, they're singing along, shouting for this stuff. Time to put our money where our mouths are.
Those words, those immortal words, do they owe us a living? Well, you know, do we owe sweatshop workers a living? Yeah, of course we fucking do.
Do they owe us a living? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Owe us a living? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Owe us a living? Yes, I fucking do. Don't take any notice what the public think. So I'm having treatment. Just the worst thing. Do they have target? 3 months of advice. If you don't want to wear it, pay off for the advice. Do they owe us a living? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Owe us a living? Yes, I fucking do.
Punk ethics, don't be a dick.